It is my pleasure to have you join us on this program from the National Assembly. And in this package, we will be bringing you the details of the first plenary of the 9th House of Representatives. Thank you for joining us on the program. I am Kenneth Nanim.
Is there any member-elect that has not taken his oath that needs to take his oath today?
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of member of the House of Representatives. I do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of the House of Representatives, I perform my functions honestly, to the best of my ability, faithfully, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the law and the rules of the House, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the 5th Schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I want to rely on Order 8, Rule 5, on personal explanation. Mr. Speaker, I'm privileged to have seen the vote and proceedings for today, and I observe that my name was omitted in the names of members present at the inaugural sitting. Right Honorable Speaker, I was here present, I took my oath of allegiance, and I have everything, but I don't know why my name is actually missing from the list of members present at votes and proceedings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I wish you had raised this before we adopted the votes and proceedings of today, but the matter is very fundamental, and I'm not sure why your name was. It's probably a clerical error or oversight. Clerk, please, can we note his point of order and personal explanation so that the clerical error can be corrected and reflected in the next votes and proceedings. Thank you. Any member who has a petition to the House may present it to the House, please. Any petition?
The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, while presiding at Thursday's plenary, bringing to the notice of the President the election of new presiding officers, is in line with legislative rules, which is also the first day of legislative business as the House of Representatives, directed the clerk, Patrick Giwa, to advise the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
I hereby order as follows: that a message be conveyed to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria informing that body that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11 June 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Akeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila, representing Surulere 1 Federal Constituency of Lagos State, was elected the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That a message be conveyed to the Senate and the Federal Republic of Nigeria informing that body that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11 June 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Ahmed Idris, representing Wase Federal Constituency of Plateau State, was elected the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. That the clerk to the National Assembly do notify the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11, 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Akeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila, representing Surulere 1 Federal Constituency of Lagos State, was elected the Speaker, House of Representatives. And 2, that the clerk to the National Assembly do notify the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11 June 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Ahmed Idris, representing Wase Federal Constituency of Plateau State, was elected the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. And finally, Mr. Clerk, that the clerk to the National Assembly do advise the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to inform the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the House had been properly constituted and ready to receive any messages he may wish to transmit. This is supposed to be a light sitting day before adjournment, but I believe there are 1 or 2 members that intimated me of their desire to raise 1 or 2 motions that they thought were urgent, that needed to be addressed urgently. Point of order. What page? Privileges. Okay, go ahead.
From Delta State. And I also on a letter mode said, I'm not aware that you have, discounted that fact that I'm man of God of this house. Mr. Speaker, I haven't said that coming on.
That was in the, I believe, the sixth assembly. A man of God must consistently earn the man of God. We are yet to see whether you earn it. But I know you very well, and I believe, in my own personal opinion, you are still a man of God.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, you had ruled under one of my colleagues' privileges that he raised. But when you keep quiet, the tendency is that it may be taken that all is well. I came in here this morning, and I'm here to see the votes and proceedings. And somebody said he could not find his name. If I keep quiet, it will look like I've also seen it, and my names are there. So I'm raising it to say, please, if the people are still having the votes and proceedings, let me have it so that I can also cross-check myself. And I'm sure most of our colleagues are also in the same line with my submission of this privilege. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Once the horse has left the barn, it becomes very difficult. So you have an opportunity to go through the votes and proceedings. Clerk, please, let's have the votes and proceedings circulated immediately. I believe this is a function of a teething start. We don't have chairman business and rules, which is the responsibility of the business and rules. But we'll sort all this out before we leave here.
2 matters of urgent public importance and the need to assist victims of flood and other environmental challenges in some states of the Federation.
Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Benjamin Okezie Carlo, representing the good people of Bende Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. I rise under Order 8, Rule 4, matters of urgent public importance, to present a motion on the need, the urgent need to combat life and property threatening flood and erosion that has swept away houses and roads in communities like Mpa, Umimenyi, Ozitem, and Bende. Mr. Speaker,
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under Rule 8, Order 2. The one on the matter he's raising, that the text, page 32, the text of the matter shall be submitted in writing to the Speaker prior to the sitting of the House. I don't know whether he has done that. Thank you.
Thank you. In the Ninth Assembly, we're going to allow a little leeway for most of our new members. But second of all, let me say at the beginning, I did say I was notified by a couple of members. So that obligation has been fulfilled already. You're ruled out of order.
thank you for saving me. As I was saying, I'm coming under Order 8, Rule 4, matter.
Honorable Kalu, you have actually already given us a synopsis of what it's about. So it is now,
To seek the leave of the
yes, it is now for the chair to put the question for members, whether they determine whether that is urgent enough for consideration. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues. Honorable colleagues, let me just come in here very quickly. Honorable colleagues. Clark. Honorable colleagues. First of all, I want to plead with honorable colleagues. This is our colleagues' first outing. And I think it's important that we work together to make our first outing a good outing. To put it simply, a good outing. Our colleague has moved a motion that affects his constituency. I don't know if you were listening carefully to the details. I mean, we haven't heard the details, but at least to the synopsis of what he said. It is, for me, the issues are very germane to his constituency. So I will crave your indulgence that we do this again. That's number one. Number two, in fact, the first one we did, from my recollection, we actually, because we were in a hurry, we didn't do, we're giving room for little leeway today. Nobody seconded his motion. So we're going to do it again. So I'm asking members to be understanding today. After today, we're adjourning for 2 weeks today. After today, we'll come out with the long daggers. But for today, let's have a good time today. So, is anybody here to second the motion raised by Honorable Ben Kalu? Yes. Honorable Ikruka.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I second this motion and I plead with members to.
Thank you, Honorable Nkuruka. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues,
Excuse me, I seek the leave of Order 8, Rule 4, Sub 3.
Honorable
To enable the
Kalu.
matter to be heard immediately.
All infrastructural motions are sent to the committee. There is no need for debate. They're straightforward. Thank you. So motion passed. Honorable Kalu,
Mr. Speaker.
you still have to move the motion, not debate it. We will not debate it. Okay. We will move it. You have it written out.
Yes.
You have it written out.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, thank you once more. I stand to move the motion on urgent need to combat threatening environmental degradation in Mkpa, Bende, Itumbuzo, Alai. The House knows that Bende local government area with landmass of about 601 kilometers square is the largest local government area in Abia State, and that the area, which is largely agrarian, produces in commercial scale for both the domestic and international markets. Aware that with the commencement of heavy rain, Bende, with a population of over 300,000, is seriously prone to and already severely affected by erosion and flood and other forms of environmental degradation. Disturbed that all parts of Bende Federal Constituency, comprising of 99 autonomous communities, have been seriously impacted by erosion, resulting to many roads in the area, including Umuahia Bende Road, Bende Itumbuzo, Akwa Ibom State Border Road, having gully erosion depth of more than 150 feet and over 1 kilometer wide. Concerned that many roads have either been completely cut off or are almost being completely cut off, thereby rendering them impassable, and people are no longer able to carry on their normal daily social, economic, religious, and other activities, as well, giving rise to various forms of criminality in the area. Further disturbed that many have been rendered homeless in places in parts of Achi Umuhu, Ezechi, Mkpa, Bende Town, Umimenyi, Alai, Item, and other severe erosion sites. While so many houses are severely threatened by erosion, which will be catastrophic if there is no immediate response, and this will render more of my constituents homeless. Worried that during rainy seasons, like we have now, over 40% of both primary and secondary schools in the area are forced to close due to the impact of erosion, flood, while parents are also forced to withdraw their children and worse from most of the remaining schools. Deeply worried that with some gullies as deep as 150 feet, streams and rivers have been lost. Sources of water for rural dwellers and farmers have been lost. Several farmlands have been lost. Bridges collapsed. Several buildings, including homes, schools, churches, markets, have been destroyed. And there is a remarkable rise in criminality, thereby causing undue hardship to the people. Resolves to, 1, urge the Ecological Fund Office to, as a matter of urgency, intervene by assessing, awarding, and ensuring the complete execution of the erosion control and remediation project in severe erosion sites at Achi, Umuhezeji, Mkpa, Bende Town, Umimenyi, Alai, Item, Itumbuzo, and other sites within the area. 2, urge the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to quickly commence the rehabilitation and maintenance of Akeze, Ibere, Ameke, Umahia Road, Umahia Bende Road, Bendi Tungus Akwa Ibom State Border Road, and other roads with special emphasis on erosion and flood control. And 3, urge the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to quickly ensure the supply of relief material to the affected areas. 4, call on the Niger Delta Development Commission, the Federal Ministry of Environment and other relevant ministries, departments and agencies to quickly react by deploying their various intervention mechanisms to arrest the situation, as well ameliorate the sufferings of the people of Bende. I so move.
So I will be directing amendment. Who has an amendment? Go ahead.
Kingsley Chinda, I represent Obiakpo Federal Constituency. I'm an Ikwere man from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, I pray that we amend the prayer by adding 2 more communities that I know are seriously ravaged by flood and erosion, Aniocha Oshimini and Obiakpo Federal Constituency in Delta and Rivers State. I so move.
Given that my community as well, especially Oko in Aniocha Oshimini Federal Constituency, precisely right now people have moved out of their area.
Any other amendment? Any other amendment?
My amendment is to include Isukwato Umundochi erosion site to this particular motion. I so move.
Thank you. Those in favor of the amendment as moved, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Any further amendments? Honorable Guna.
Amending the motion that was moved by my brother, Honorable Ben Carlo. I want this Honorable House to please include, Mr. Speaker, the Nkwamiri Wangele erosion site in Imo State. Honorable colleagues, if nothing is done about that erosion, in the next 2 years, a community will be totally wiped off. So I pray, Mr. Speaker, that we amend that motion that was moved by Ben Carlo by including, like I said, Nkwamiri Wangele, Igoli erosion of Imo State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder?
By my colleague, Honorable Osby, that one mile and one erosion site in Imo State be included in the motion. I so second.
There has to come a time when amend and put so many amendments, you almost run the risk of watering down the motion. Please, we almost run the risk of watering down the motion. Honorable Abante, point of order. What's your point of order?
Our laws, that is the order I'm giving you, quietly and listen. Mr. Speaker, you cannot use by prayers of motion to amend our laws. One of the prayers says, mandates to award. That will be extra budgetary provision. Therefore, we should delete the section that says, mandate certain committees to award certain contract. They can say it in large. But rather to say, study the situation and revert back to the House. But if you allow these prayers to go on, we are now asking them to do extra budgetary awards. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
An amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, after Honorable Khadija's amendment, I think the best thing to do will be for us to write, and it will form part of our resolution. Rather than taking amendment after amendment after amendment, we may end up losing the essence of the motion, the substance of the motion, and it begins to be watered down. Honorable Khadija, please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Waziri Bukar Appa Ibrahim, representing Damaturu, Tarmua, Gujibagulani Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Yobe State. I'm towing the same line as the comment you just made, Mr. Speaker, just to say that most communities we represent here are bedeviled by flood, and if we consistently sit here and count the amount of communities that are going through this devastating experience, we'll take the whole day. So I think my amendment would be to direct NEMA to address all the communities, issues of the communities involved in the flooding, and also write to the Ecological Fund as to erosion where flooding is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of Honorable Khadija's amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. There are no relevant committees or standing committees at this time. So what I will do is to direct the clerk to communicate to the Ministry of Environment, to FEMA, and I believe the SGF, who is in charge of the ecological funds, to communicate the resolution of this House to those and other relevant agencies. What's your point of order?
I've gone through the vote and proceedings, and I noticed there's an error in the way the name of the federal constituency was written. It's actually Abua Odual and Ahoda East Federal Constituency, not in the reverse form in which it's written. So I really honestly...
I'm sorry, I'm finding it difficult. It's not very audible, but what's your point of order?
The point of order is that there's an error in the way...
No, there has to be a point of order that you refer to in the rule book.
Order 6.
What does it say? What page?
14. Page 14. Under privileges.
I think we might have passed that, but go ahead. We're giving room for a lot of things today.
Thank you. It's actually in the reverse form in which it's written. It's Abua Odual, Ahoda East Federal Constituency. Not Ahoda East, Abua Odual Federal Constituency. So I want the Speaker to draw attention on
Noted.
What is that?
They're typically typo errors. Thank you.
A request to deploy additional security personnel in parts of Oyo State to combat incessant attacks and kidnappings were adopted.
I am Dr. Honorable Ajibola Muraina. Mr. Speaker, I represent Barakwa Central, Barakwa North Federal Constituency. I am from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I most humbly want to urge this House to allow me to bring under Order 8 Rule 4 Sub-Rule 1 as a matter of urgent public importance, incessant attacks and kidnappings on my constituents at Igboora, Idere, Ayete, Tafa, Igangan, Landate, and Irua, forming Barakwa Central, Barakwa North, and Barakwa East local governments of Oyo State. It's been very serious and it's very urgent. Serially, they are attacking them almost on a daily basis, and it's very unbecoming. I urge most humbly, please permit me to bring it under a matter of urgent public importance, pursuant to Order 8 to the force of Rule 1. I also pray, Mr. Speaker, to humbly pray you again to allow for suspension of Order 8, Rule 4, Sub-Rule 3, to allow me to take the motion very briefly within 2 minutes. Thank you, my honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker.
Those who feel this matter is urgent enough, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Muraino, your second leg, please.
Rule 4 Sub-Rule 3 to enable me to take the motion immediately. I most humbly pray.
Muraino move his motion. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Muraino.
I want to seek the permission of the House to move in terms of the motion papers, which is already before the House, so that I will just
read one or two paragraphs and proceed to resolution so that I don't waste the time of the House. The House notes with apprehension the desertedly attacks and kidnappings carried out on Irua, Lanlate, Igangan, Tapa, Ayete, Igbora, and Idere in Ibarapa East, Ibarapa Central, and Ibarapa North local government areas of Oyo State by armed bandits and criminal elements notorious for kidnapping, rape, and extortion of huge sums of money from their victims. These bandits carried out their daylight robberies and kidnappings on the innocent people, mostly at various fuel stations, highways, and other farmlands. Mr. Speaker, I proceed straight to read our resolutions. The House resolves to urge the Inspector General of Police, in collaboration with other security agencies, to rigid the security architecture to ensure the security of lives and property, not only in Oyo State and in all these 3 local governments, but the entire country, and to deploy officers to security flash points to curb criminal activities. 2, the House also urged the National Emergency Agency to visit the affected communities and individuals and then provide them relief materials in order to compensate for their losses and ease their physical and psychological trauma. 3, to mandate the Committees on Police Affairs, Emergency and Disaster Preparedness, when constituted, to ensure compliance and report back to the House within 4 weeks. Mr. Speaker, I urge that in the absence of these committees, the federal government could be reaching through the Secretary of the federal government or the appropriate agencies to do what we are seeking for. Right Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I move in terms of the motion papers. I most humbly move. I thank you all.
Any seconder, please. Since we have no committees set up right now, and I'll direct the clerk to write to the Inspector General, communicate with the Inspector General of Police and all other relevant security agencies in accordance with this resolution, and to also write to NEMA, the agency, the relevant agency, in accordance with our resolution.
Amendment, please.
We have already hit the gavel. Amendment overtaken by the hitting of the gavel. Honorable Collins, point of order. Who has a point of order? Honorable Oshoba.
Olumide Babatunde Oshoba from representing Abeokuta North, Obafemi Ode, and other federal constituency. I represent MKO Abiola. I want to thank the President, and I want to thank Nigerians for recognizing MKO Abiola yesterday and confirming June 12 as Democracy Day. I'll be coming to move a motion for further recognition. I would want the country to please recognize MKO Abiola. So thank you so much.
Honorable Fulata, can you move that the House is up to executive session?
Kilika Samba, Budi Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do resolve into an executive committee. I so move.
As moved. Thank you.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it to the committee of vote.
The House went into a closed-door session which lasted 3 hours, at the end of which the Speaker announced the creation of 3 ad hoc committees on media, welfare and selection.
Constituted ad hoc committees. Media. Honorable Khadija Bukar, Dr. Fulata Abubakar, Honorable Bamidele Salami, Honorable Luke Anahyok, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, Honorable Abdul Razak Namdas, Honorable Sada Soli Jiber, Honorable Francis Agbo, Honorable Umar Ubago, Professor Julius Iyonvere, Honorable Leke Abejide. The Select Committee, Ad hoc Committee, from Kano State, Honorable Muhammad Ali, Honorable Tata Omar from Bauchi, Zamfara, Honorable Shinkafi, Taraba, Honorable Aminu Male, from Akwa Ibom, Honorable Nsiok Ekong, Anambra, Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, Cross River, Honorable Chris Give, Honorable Komso Longso for Plateau State, Honorable Lawal Wasiu Ogun State, Honorable Yemi Adaramodu Ekiti State, Honorable Lawal Idrisu from Kogi, FCT, Honorable Johanna Jigawa, Honorable Fulata, Edo State, Honorable Oguma, Ondo State, Honorable Oluwatimileyin Adelegbe, from Kwara State, Honorable Ishmael, Honorable Suleiman Sumaila from Kaduna, Kebbi, Honorable Sonunu Bayelsa, Honorable Fred Agbedi, Katsina, Honorable Dalatu Hamza, from Lagos, Honorable Badru Ebonyi, Honorable Gariwe, Gombe, Honorable Victor Mela. From Rivers, Honorable Kingsley Chinda, Honorable Jafar Abubakar from Adamawa, Honorable Tobi Okechukwu, Enugu State, Honorable Idris Yerima from Yobe. From Sokoto, we have Honorable Ahmed Abdullahi. From Niger, Honorable Musa Abdullahi. Oyo State, Honorable Stanley Adedeji. Delta, Honorable Mutu Nicholas. Borno, Honorable Rahis Abdul Kadir. Osun State, Honorable Yunusa Amobi. Nasarawa, Honorable Abdul Karim Usman. Imo State, Honorable Bede Eke. My apologies. In the media committee, I left out the name of Honorable Engineer Yunus. And then we have one more committee, which is the Welfare Committee. I will go through the names, and to save time, I'll leave out the states. I believe you all know what state you're representing. For the Welfare Committee, we have Honorable Kabiru Al-Hassan, Honorable Ibrahim Makama, Honorable Umar Sani, Honorable David Abel, Honorable Henry Achibong, Honorable Chukuma Omeji, Honorable Lego Idagbo, Honorable Musa Bagos, Honorable Ononuga Adewumi Oriyomi, Honorable Omawumi Ogunlola, Honorable Abdullahi Halims, Honorable Hassan Usman, Honorable Abdullahi Ibrahim Dutse, Honorable Sejus Ogun, Honorable Omolafe Isaac Adedayo, Honorable Ahmed Abubakar, Honorable Amos Magaji, Honorable Bashir Isa Agungu, Honorable Priye, Honorable Yakub Danja, Honorable Raji, Honorable Anayo Edwin, Honorable Aishatu Duku, Honorable Dagogo, Honorable Gideon Goriki, Honorable Anani Ningi, Honorable Lawal Ali Shatima, Honorable Abubakar Usman Yobo, Honorable Jafaru Muhammad, Honorable Tolulokpe Shadikpe, Honorable Afe Anthony, Honorable Zainab Gimba, Honorable Abimbola Taufik, Honorable Ari Abdul Mumin, and Honorable Kingsley Uju.
The House adjourned sitting to 2nd July 2019. Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee on Media briefed the press on some resolutions reached at the executive session.
First of all, we had plenary, and after the plenary, we went into an executive session in which various things were discussed. And the first and foremost thing that was put to the table was the fact that we remain as one house, regardless of party affiliation. As you're well aware, Mr. Speaker came on the platform of the Joint Task Force. So that means it doesn't matter which party you are from, we are still one. We belong to one whole house. And there's not going to be any prejudices. There's not going to be leaning towards one party. We're going to work towards the unity and progress of our country as one. Together, we must do it. In brotherhood, we all stand. And secondly, we are going to close all platforms related to the campaign towards attaining the speakership position, and we're going to form one platform in which all members will be registered on that platform and can communicate through WhatsApp on that platform. So all platforms henceforth are shut, except the one that will be opened that will hold everybody as a member. Thank you. Secondly, the traditional victory party, which normally holds after elections have been conducted for Mr. Speaker, has been cancelled due to the fact that we have a lot of work to do. And in the 2 weeks within which we've been given our recess, we need to go and work. We are going to work. We're not going on holiday. New members are going to go and look for accommodation and come together and try and settle down in Abuja. And also the ones that have settled already will be involved in ad hoc committees like the Welfare Committee and the Selection Committee. And we, the Media Committee, will be available for any media questions or any communication between you and us and the public. And history was made today in which the ad hoc committees were formed instantaneously. They were not left till the following week or the week after for the ad hoc committees of welfare and other ad hoc committees to be formed. So we all went into groups according to our states and formed these ad hoc committees. So I think, yeah, that's okay. And Mr. Speaker has also emphasized that he's going to visit some constituency offices to have a feel of what is happening in these constituencies, especially the most crucial ones that are always in the headlines. So this is a first in history that a speaker has chosen to go around some states to visit constituency offices and have a feel of what is going on in those constituencies other than his own constituency. So we are really, really happy about that because, as you're all aware, we come from the grassroots, and the grassroots require to know what is happening in the federal, here in the federal constituencies. They need to know what is happening in the House and also in Nigeria as a whole. So today we stand united. We're from various party platforms, and together we stand, and together we hope to make our country forge ahead and move forward. In one Nigeria we believe, in one Nigeria we stand. In one Nigeria we shall continue to work hard with the executive to make sure that there is progress in this land, to make sure that in the Party of Nations we are counted amongst the first, amongst equals. And in Africa, of course, you're well aware that we are number one, and we shall remain number one, and we will effectively work with the executive hand in hand. As you're well aware, Nigeria, with the three arms of government, need to work hand in hand to show progress, to progress in this country, and therefore we are hoping and willing and ready to actually work and in line with the provisions of the Constitution. So thank you very much, members of the press.
The Speaker, she added, will embark on visits to some federal constituencies across the country to get first-hand information on their various challenges.
The next package will be inauguration of the three ad hoc committees selected by the Speaker to kickstart the activities of the 9th House of Representatives.
The ad hoc committees inaugurated are the Media, Welfare and Selection Committee, which, according to the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, are tasked with coordinating activities in managing affairs of the House of Representatives pending the setting up of standing committees. The committees are also to ensure that the entire 360 members of the House of Representatives are carried along in the task of lawmaking for good governance.
Your work and scope of work is very limited, but it's extremely important. It's extremely important because it is the backbone and it lays the foundation of perhaps the most important, one of the most important things in running this House. You will be charged and tasked with the issue of sitting arrangement of members, which is also very, very key for the smooth operation of the House. Everybody has a permanent seat. And there are ways, there's a manner in which sometimes these things are done. It's not necessarily randomly. The details, the clerk will discuss with you as we go along. You're tasked with the responsibility of allocating offices to members. Sometimes this might seem to be simple tasks, but when you start allocating to 360 members, all of different status and ranking and the rest of it, as we have seen now, many members are making it abundantly clear, even in their introduction, that they are ranking. So there's a reason for it, why they're saying it, so that you know when it comes to allocation of offices, seats, they don't joke with that. It's traditional. So it's important. As for the unranked members, don't worry, your time will come. Your time will come when the welfare committee in 4 years will have to respect your ranking. So really, those are principally the two essential things. There are some ancillary responsibilities that will be given to you. Again, for the smooth running of the House. We expect that these things will be done. There will be a timeline, hopefully in the next 1 week, because it's important that when members come in on the 2nd of July, they have their names and their seats, that they can identify the seats by the name tags that will be on the seats. Very, very important. And when you get comfortable when you're sitting over months, it even enhances your contributions on the floor because you are comfortable with that small environment where you have been allocated. It becomes your space. You claim ownership of that space. And psychologically, that even helps you rather than sitting here today, sitting there tomorrow, roaming around like somebody who does not have a place to go. So take it very seriously. We will work with you, myself and the Deputy Speaker, in terms of allocation, in terms of you have a free hand to do whatever you want to do, but we will guide as well in terms of how it's done traditionally. So I believe the other responsibilities concern certain things which we may discuss off camera, but it's important that you take those two principal responsibilities very, very, very serious, and that by the 2nd of July, members will have their seats. We need to close this responsibility, this task, at least 2-3 days before resumption, because we'll go around to inspect what you have done, and to make sure that it's been done properly. So I congratulate you on being nominated on this very, very important committee. A lot of responsibility has been given to you, and I believe you will be able to discharge those responsibilities based on the trust and the confidence that we have in you. It's important that I state this. Sometimes people get anxious and believe that this committee sometimes transmutes, should I say, into the House Services Committee. Now that may be so, but that is not. There's nothing cast in stone. It is not sacrosanct. You might find that the whole House Services may take a different complexion. But yes, there is also the possibility that this will happen. A chairman will be appointed today, because there will always be a chairman. That's tradition in the House, in any committee, so that we know who to hold responsible. It doesn't mean that chairman is going to be the chairman of House Services, nothing like that. But just for this purpose, this very temporary 2-week responsibility, somebody has to be there to make sure things are done and coordinated properly. So you're welcome, and I thank you very much for accepting this responsibility, which for some of you will be your first responsibility in nation building. Thank you. I believe we are all on the same page that this Ninth Assembly would be a Ninth Assembly that will take us further to our destination of making this country a better place and a more perfect union, as I stated in my inaugural speech. Let me also thank each and every one of you seated here today for the support you gave and the confidence that you have reposed in myself and Honorable Wase to lead this Ninth Assembly. We have promised you that it's going to be a different Ninth Assembly, and we intend to keep that promise. Honorable colleagues, for those who may not be aware, and I'm talking particularly about the new members and even us old members, the select committee comprises of members selected, 1 member per state, selected by members of that state. We could easily have influenced the selection of each person from their states, but we left it democratically for members to themselves, right there and then in chambers, elect those who will be representing them on this select committee. And we did it on the floor, right there and then, which is something that has never been done before on our first day of sitting. And I want to thank you for cooperating, for quietly coming together as caucuses right there on the floor and giving us names, which has brought us where we are today. It shows that we're all ready to roll up our sleeves and get to work. The select committee, for those who do not know, is actually unknown to many people, probably one of the most important committees in this House. We have 3 categories for parliamentary work in terms of committees. We have standing committees, we have special committees, and we have ad hoc committees. The select committee falls under the category of special committees. And if you read your rules very well, a lot of people go away with the thought that, okay, and that's the way it's been done in the past, unfortunately. The select committee comes together, we sit down, we put members in different committees as members. And that's the end of the day. The work is done and everybody disperses. And that is contrary to our rules, and it has not been enforced. But this time around, again, because we intend for this to be a new Ninth Assembly, the Select Committee, which even though it's in our books that it's a special committee, it's just been made an ad hoc committee in the past. If you look at the rules, the select committee is actually more or less a special and a standing committee. For the next 4 years, we're going to be working as the committee that basically supervises the work of other committees. It is a committee where even other committees are supposed to be reporting to you quarterly to show their performance and whatever issues there may be in those committees. So it's a very powerful committee, so you must consider it a privilege to belong to this committee. It is the only committee in the House where the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and all other principal officers are automatic members. And it's the only committee that is chaired by the Speaker. That tells you the importance of the select committee. So in other words, it's the committee that oversights other committees. Let me just put that in a nutshell. It is a committee for 4 years that oversights other committees. It's a special, that's why it's called a special committee in our rules. So I congratulate you once more. I believe it's important that we start work, but of course we didn't have the time to inaugurate before now, until now. So once we do this, please let's roll up our sleeves and get cracking. It's very, very important. So on that note, like they say, by the powers vested in me, I hereby inaugurate the select committee of the 9th Assembly that will be running for the next 4 years.
Thank you.
Members will have to be given forms where they indicate areas of interest, committees they would like to belong to. These forms will be distributed to you, however you want to distribute it to members. That is for this committee to decide. But all members have to receive these forms and resubmit them after having listed the areas of preference of where they would like to serve. And they will also need to attach their CVs and the areas of competence, because it's important that we put round pegs in round holes. If we have experts in certain areas, it's important that we put them in those committees, because some of them might even be, they may even be, if you're an expert in a certain area, a technical field, you might even be the one guiding whoever may be the chairman of that committee. It's very, 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 very important. So the clerk will distribute these forms for onward distribution to members, and there's a way and format. Of course, everybody will write a list of, you will find about 200 people who want to belong to one committee. We know the committees, but we'll have a way of even distribution, equitable distribution, and that's the task ahead, immediate task ahead right now. Thank you.
You guys hit the ground running on the very first day after sitting. We all saw it. You started work immediately, and we commend you. We say thank you. You've done a great job, and you're still working because I have been getting reports on what you're doing. But for the sake of formality, even though it's coming after the fact, I still hereby inaugurate this committee to continue the work that you're doing. In doing that, please allow me to co-opt a member for strategic reasons who's also being a media person with the executive in the presidency, so that the two arms can work. They can understand what we're doing, we can understand what they're doing in terms of communication. Even though this is just a 2-week committee, and that will be Honorable Shaban from Kano State, who's hereby co-opted into this committee. Well, you have your work cut out for you. You know what your work is. You know what you need to do. We're here just to get reports from you and to give you direction if and when need be. It is yours, it is your job to intimate the public for whom we represent. You can't say you're representing people people without them knowing what is going on. They have to at all times be carried along in our activities, in our work, at least for the next two weeks until resumption. This is an ad hoc committee to let people know what we're doing, how we're proceeding, and basically begin to change that narrative which is so much against us as a house. That is your mandate. We will support you in fulfilling this mandate. We have received your correspondence. We will discuss it as soon as we dissolve into an executive session after this inauguration. And once again, thank you, and I also thank you on behalf of myself and the Deputy Speaker for electing us to represent you as Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the 9th Assembly. We will promise that we will definitely fulfill one of our promises to you and to the whole world. So thank you once again. Thank you.
Membership of the Selection and Welfare Committee consists one representative each from the 36 states of the Federation. The Speaker urged members of the 3 committees to discharge the assignments with due diligence in view of the limited time.
There will be cordial executive legislative relationship with a view to delivering on the primary mandate of governance, that is delivery of peace and security and good governance to the people of Nigeria, having regard to excellent executive legislative relationship free of rancor. In this night assembly, one of the few things that I individually and also implore the assembly collectively to pursue is the issue of e-parliament, so that Nigerians will get to know the workings of the legislature as well as the workings of their individual representative real time by way of voting and whatever that has transpired in parliament. That is one thing. And then we'll pursue vigorously, for example, in my constituency that is ravaged by insurgency, robust funding to the Northeast Development Commission so that they will embark upon the task of reconstruction, rehabilitation of the destroyed infrastructure of the Northeast.
My expectation of this 9th Assembly is that it is going to come up with a leadership that is less acrimonious and that is combat ready to fulfill the interest of Nigerians in general. The expectations of Nigerians on this 9th Assembly is so crazy that everybody in this assembly has to sit up, the leadership has to sit up, just for us to see that we have fulfilled the interests and expectations of Nigerians.
We got a lot of things planned out, which I enumerated on my campaign website, akiminsbusiness.com. But just because of time constraints, I want to specialize a lot on youth development and small business development, because I realized in my constituency that a lot of people, there are so many thousands and thousands of small business owners, and you look at these small business owners and you see them, they've done a lot with it. They send children up to university level, they send children abroad with these small businesses. So I'm thinking, if we can assist these people, and when I talk about assist, it could be in 2 ways: assist financially and assist in terms of laws, in terms of policies that can help them. Company registration should be free, it should be online, it should be within 24 hours. So policy-wise and financial-wise, if we push these people, if you can't use a small business to send children up to university level, what if we help you? That means they can do better and even employ more people, which will reduce the issue of lack of jobs. I'm very peculiar about youth development. Like I said, for many years, my private capacity, I've been doing seminars, doing trainings. I've written a lot of articles. I've written books on small businesses, on youth development. So I think that's something that I really like to be involved with.
At the end of the 4 years here, what would you like to be known for by the end of 4 years as a member of the House of Representatives?
The man who contributed to the boosting of business and entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Listen, people talk about job creations. What people don't understand is job creation itself, it's a byproduct of entrepreneurship, because most people in jobs will work in small and medium scale businesses. Very few people will work in government, and very few people will work in the top bureaus, top oil companies. Majority of people will work in small and medium scale businesses. So if you make this thrive, job creation.
I can see the dreams of my constituents, the dream of my supporters, the dream of the people of Ohajema, Oguta, and Oro West being realized. Today, I can stand here today to speak for the development and for the benefit of my people. So ultimately, I can tell you I'm very, very happy. Any call to service is aimed at rendering service to the people. So what I have in mind for my people is making sure that those long-age deprivation, which has actually denied our people effective infrastructural development, today I will be actually talking on how to make sure that my people are being brought to national grid in terms of the infrastructural development. What do I mean by this? We produce oil. We are among the oil producing communities and local governments in the country. But when you go to my place, you can see some high level of neglect by oil companies, some high level of neglect by all other derivatives that are supposed to come from oil proceeds. But today, I can see the opportunity to speak for my people, the opportunity to let the world know that Imo produces oil, Ohajema Oguta produces oil, and those attendant benefits accruable to oil communities. Today is a day for me to actually speak it out and inform the whole world so that the benefits will come. Benefits, I mean, as a result of road construction, benefits, I mean, as a result of electricity, benefits, I mean, as a result of employment. Whether you want to believe it or not, youth restiveness amongst the communities in Niger Delta is caused mainly by the fact that most of the youths are idle. But today, if we begin to talk about how to improve on the employment schedule of these youths, I can bet you that these youths will actually lay down whatever thing that is their anger and embrace the development the government is bringing to them.
Okay, now if you have the liberty, you say, okay, choose a committee that you want to belong to. So which committee would you want and why?
Well, in National Assembly, every committee is very important. The most important thing is being a member of National Assembly. You have opportunity to speak for your people. So I don't think committee is my priority of coming to National Assembly, but I can bet you, wherever committee you are in National Assembly, the most important thing is that you have the floor. You have the floor of the chambers to make a contribution. So it mustn't be in committee of this or committee of this to make a contribution. So I can assure you that every committee, any committee in National Assembly is as good as others. So whichever committee that the selection committee puts me in, I can deliver on the mandate given to me. So I don't have any specific committee in mind. I can beat my chest to tell you that this night assembly is going to be a very, very friendly assembly. It's going to be very, very productive, very, very viable, and more especially, this night assembly is going to look at the security situation of the country. And you can achieve this without having a very good cordial relationship with the executive. So there must be a symbiotic relationship between the executive arm, the judicial arm, and the legislative arm. I can assure you that what will be paramount in the faces and minds of the honorable members is how we can improve on the security situation in the country. Yesterday it was Zamfara. 2 days ago or 2 years ago it was Maiduguri. It happened in southeast, either maybe kidnap or robbery. South, you see restiveness. In the north, you see militancy and insurgency. We can continue like this as a nation. So this is the time the people of Nigeria, through the National Assembly, will speak in one voice, making sure that the security situation of the country is improved. And I can tell you that once the security situation of the country is improved, we shall now begin to expect those democracy dividends that our people are yearning for. So all hands must be on deck to make sure too that this relationship we are actually yearning, so that the three arms of government will come together to solve the problem of this country.
You're coming to the night assembly. What are you bringing in? What are you bringing to the table?
My focus is security, like you, my focus is security. Because I believe Nigeria have been having a sleepless night because of insecurity across the nation. So what we must first do to keep Nigeria together is to ensure that there is security everywhere. People can move freely, people can move without fear or favor.
What kind of relationship do you think should exist between the legislature and the executive?
For us to move forward is to ensure we work smoothly with the executive. If we bring before the executive will bring any bills, there should be liaison between the parliament and the executive. And by the time it comes to the floor of the house, and by the time members have knowledge of such bills, we'll be able to pass it smoothly. They won't be rancor, to be free of rancor, and Nigeria will benefit more.
Okay, so what do you look forward to in this night assembly?
I look forward for a peaceful parliament, a peaceful and smooth executive-legislative relationship.
I am proud to say that I was a member of the 6th, the 7th, 8th, and now going to the 9th. And progressively we had improved. We have learned a lot of lessons from the assemblies we met, and taking them forward means that the productivity of the 8th assembly was much higher, both in terms of quality, quantity of bills done, oversight, more rigorous oversight, and representation, so suggesting that our memory is not wasted. 2, as we go to the 9th assembly, as an individual, I've learned the diversities of this country. I appreciate the viewpoints of others much more than I did when I came here. And I also understand the issue of parties and all the struggles that tend to make the National Assembly always take off on a rocky keel. We are believing that this 9th Assembly will take off smoothly because Nigeria is so challenged from the security to the poverty to the unemployment that we can't waste time on frivolities. So first, I think we are working hard to make sure that we pick a leadership that will be our own, that will be driven by us and will understand us, and that is experienced and will cover all the country. For me, coming from the Igbo land, I believe that we need to be part of the national discourse. We cannot be forgotten. This is a whole zone in this country. And for the bills that we have made, which most of them, out of the about 8 bills that are sponsored, only one was signed in this 8th assembly. I'm hoping that I will go and reject them. While the presidency has issues, those ones that I feel we can accommodate and still take them back. Those ones we feel are fundamental, I will send them back as it is. But we'll keep on explaining. I've learned art of lobbying, not just me as an individual, but those who are returning. And for your information, the National Assembly, as presently constituted for the National Assembly, returned higher percentage of experienced members than the previous assembly. So I believe that we are going to be good. We are talking to ourselves, both the PDP, the APC, the smaller parties. We are on one accord that the interests of Nigeria should outweigh our small interests.
Okay, Representative Pat Asadu, how would you appraise the performance of the 8th Assembly in terms of oversight functions?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That one, I chaired the committee on ports, harbour and waterways in that last assembly, and I think that when we came to that committee, the contribution of Nigerian Ports Authority to the national treasury was next to nothing. But we are today looking at over 100 billion being remitted to the national treasury. Now is the function of oversight because we work with agencies to block leakages, improve revenue sources, improve efficiency and we have come in with a clear vision that we are not a separate country. We are part of a government. The 3 arms may be independent, but it's also interdependent. So where we see an agency that we can help guide by the law, guide by oversight, we usually do that. But much more importantly, we also introduce something that is very, Nigerians may not have noticed. For the first time, Nigerian Ports Authority is now doing corporate social responsibility across the country. Because we feel that when it is, Nigeria is at peace and everybody is healthy, the Nigerian Ports Authority can work better. But if we focus only on the port areas, a lot of landlocked states will get nothing.
The tremendous achievement we are able to recorded in the last 4 years that made them to elect me is what I will build upon. I will give my people what is called good and excellent representation. That's why they elected me. I will make sure that project and program federal government does not elude my constituency. I will serve them diligently. I will be responsible. I will be responsive to them. And availability, I will make sure I do that. So all my people of Oyo Federal Constituency, in the area of education, in the area of agriculture, in the area of sport, in the area of employment opportunities, works, power, I will not shy away to make sure I have impact and I develop my constituency in those enumerated areas.
Oh, okay, so you've been here also, like I said earlier, and you were part of committees. So what particular committee of interest would you like to be part of, and why?
Let me tell you something. I definitely have a blueprint of what are the needs of my people. I know my people need power, so I will be interested to be in the committee of power. I know my people need education development because there's a school. Motion has already been moved by me for the upgrade of the College of Education for the special people to university, which has been approved by the National Assembly. So the next is for us to compel the president to assent to it. I'll be interested to be in the Committee of Tertiary Education. Also, I will be interested to be in the Committee of Water because there's a dam in Oyo that the federal government is ongoing. I will want the program to finish in earnest. So as a member of the Committee of Water, I will make sure that that water is completed in earnest. So I have vision for my people. My people's need will determine the committee I will belong. I'm representing them. I'm not for myself.
So as much as you represent your people, where does Nigeria stand in all of this?
Yeah, my people are not Nigerians.
They are Nigerians. That's in general.
My name will be among the noble legislators who supported the laudable program of the president for the development of the nation. I want to stand tall when the names are being mentioned. Honorable Akim Adeni Adeyemi is among the noble honorable who stand by the president for development of the country.
So let's talk about relationship between the executive and the legislature. You were here last 4 years. You saw the drama and everything. What should it be going forward?
Let me tell you, there's no denying the fact that the relationship between the presidency and the National Assembly in this just concluded assembly is not what I'm about. I am bold to tell you that in as much as I believe in the separation of power, the sanctions of the National Assembly, we are not elected to frustrate the developmental program of the presidency. No, we are not elected. We are elected according to law to support the laudable program of the presidency. We cannot be an opposition to the presidency. At the end of the day, what did you see? We see the Senate president eventually came out to be the president of the country. It's so bad. It's so sad. This ninth assembly must not be an assembly like that. I am not happy of what happened in the last 4 years. And now we want to correct it. We want the leadership of the House that will be comfortable to be leadership of the House. We don't want leadership of the House that will be behind the seat of the president. We don't want a leadership of the House that will be interested in delaying unnecessary delayment of budget for 7 months and the people will be suffering. We don't want that kind of leadership. We want leadership of the House that will key into the laudable program of the presidency for the betterment of Nigeria. That is the leadership we are talking about.
So are you saying some people will want to term that rubber stamp legislation?
What are you telling me? So if you stand in for the good development, laudable program, does that mean you are a rubber stamp? Oh, you must frustrate the program of the presidency before you can be on the non-rubber stamp. No, we are not saying that. Nigeria did not elect us to come and frustrate the program of the president. That is not why we are elected. We are elected to scrutinize, to enhance. Even if the president has a better project, we must have input to make it the best project, not to make a better project, to frustrate a better project. That's not why we are elected. Your definition of rubber stamp to me is understandable. My definition of rubber stamp is even an idle legislation. A legislation that is even out to frustrate laudable program. It was a legislation that would delay budget for 7 months. It's not rubber stamp.
I feel very good because I'm here to represent my people. So it's a good thing if your people have confidence and trust in you and send you to go and represent them. So I'm very happy and delighted.
Okay. You're representing your people. So what are your plans for them, especially within the next 4 years?
Well, first and foremost, quality representative. I will not be a bench warmer in the House. At the same time, I will make sure I deliver dividends of democracy on their table.
In terms of what?
In terms of everything. In terms of everything. When you say dividends of democracy, I'm here to make sure make bills that will, improve the life of my people. And any other thing, whichever way, make sure I deliver it to them.
Do you have any special committee that you're interested in being part of?
Of course. In the 9th Assembly, I can say it boldly with both sides of my mouth. I am the only master mariner, that is a marine captain, with vast experience. I have traveled to most parts of the world. So it is the first time that we have a master mariner in the House. So I believe that through this my presence in the House, we also go a long way to improve, I will propose and make bills that will improve the maritime sector of Nigeria.
Okay, in terms terms of leadership, do you believe that you believe in party supremacy, or you believe in constitutional supremacy?
Well, party supremacy, and on the other way around, what I believe mostly in is selecting a credible candidate. Credible somebody that will, turn things around. If you look at before now, you find out that most of the people that I'm saying before now, they only select their leaders based on maybe personal view. You must look at people who turn this around. We want a paradigm shift. We want, even though what is it called, principle of separation of power says all organs of government should operate individually, but there should be collaboration. Without collaboration, we cannot move forward. Our democracy has been on standstill because the three arms are not collaborating enough. So I believe we should choose a leader that will be able to, collaborate with other arms of government so that we can move forward in our democracy.
The new thing I'm bringing to the table is pretty much to improve on what we've done before, better representation, more effective representation, be closer to the people and know what their needs are. Basically, the needs of my people is a rural population, a farming, agrarian society. So we have to make sure that we improve access to basic infrastructure, roads, water, and then, also agriculture. Make sure that we enhance the food security region of our country, because I come from an area that supplies, I think, most of the food that goes to this country, which is Plateau State. But I think the most important thing would be to find out how to reduce the killings and the, random killings and lack of unity amongst our people.
Okay, Ma, this is your fourth time, I believe. Okay, and in the 10 years that you were here, you've probably seen a lot as regards relationship between the executive and the legislature. Going forward, what should be done to ensure that this time around the relationship is better?
I think the first is to define clearly what the role of the legislature is to the executive, and also to let the legislators also have a better understanding of the role of the executive. But basically, I think the executive tends to forget that we are here to check the excesses of the executive, particularly. That's why we're set up, to give a balance. We're here also to ensure that there's better lawmaking, number one, and then there's better synergy. There's stronger oversight, meaning monitoring the enforcement of these laws. And oftentimes when it comes to monitoring the enforcement of these laws, that's where the friction starts, because, for instance, in the budget appropriation process, they have to make sure that the budget is enforced. And sometimes when we conduct our oversight, we realize that due process wasn't followed. And then, friction arises. So I think there's also a need to have a better synergy, because a lot of our bills are not being passed by the presidency. So I think there's a lack of understanding of the proper role of the legislature. But a better dialoguing system where we can sit down and resolve certain issues will go a long way in helping.
Okay, but you're a fourth-timer and a woman for that matter. What has been working for you?
The grace of God and the love of my people.
Okay, so let's talk about the gender representation. Yeah. It keeps coming down. I'm sure from the first time you got here to now, I'm sure it's like by half or even less. Now in the House of Representatives, there'll be just about 11 members that are female, and in the Senate, about 7 of them, I think. So what in your opinion is responsible for this?
The terrain in politics is getting rougher. And as it gets rougher, it gets tougher for women to make it. So we have to have the gender bill, the affirmative action, 35% reserved for women. Otherwise, women may not make it ever in this game. It's a very difficult game. And for women to make it, it needs legislative backing. So I hope the circumstances we find ourselves in today will make Nigerians to wake up to the fact that, hey, our women are being left behind. We need to do something. We need to have laws that give them the backing to be able to emerge as successful candidates-elect. Members elected, governors elected, and so on elected. But you find out that there's been no female governor elected up till now, and now the number in the National Assembly has dwindled by over 1/2. So it's worrisome, actually. Until Nigerians wake up and do something and pressure their representatives and their senators to do something about it. Well, Nigerian women should always be advocating for the Gender Opportunities Bill to be passed into an act. That will go a long way.
Okay. Somebody will probably be asking, what will the women do differently? What are they bringing to the table? So what do you think that women are not doing rightly, or what should they be doing well?
When women are elected, when women are elected or voted onto the table, women actually perform better. For instance, when we went to the Egyptian parliament, they have a law that women should get not less than 30%. And the Egyptian parliamentarians were telling us that they even want more women, because the women who head the various committees, they perform better in their legislative roles than even the men. So I think it's just a misperception by the men. But what women can do, women, of course, will address issues of mortality, maternal and infant mortality better, healthcare, food security, businesses, making sure that giving women access to credit and other people. So women will make sure these issues are addressed, and there's less poverty, because when you empower a woman, you empower society, and then it will decrease the rate of poverty in this country drastically.
Keep a date with us next week on the same program. I hope you did enjoy this package. Thank you for watching. I am Kenneth Nanim saying bye for now.